Have you ever noticed that as the years pass, the world around you seems to get a little quieter? For many people hitting their 40s and 50s, this silence feels like a heavy weight pressing down on their shoulders. Society tells us that a shrinking social circle is a sign of failure or that something is broken inside our hearts. We are conditioned from a young age to believe that more is always better, especially when it comes to friends. But what if the opposite is actually the truth? What if the fact that your phone rarely rings on a Saturday night is proof that you have finally unlocked the secret to a high quality life? Welcome to the Quality Revolution. In this journey, we are going to explore why having fewer friends after 40 is not a loss, but a powerful sign of evolution. You are not becoming antisocial. You are becoming smarter about where you put your precious energy. Your brain is telling you something vital, that quality matters infinitely more than quantity now. If you find yourself with a smaller circle, if you crave solo time more than social events, listen closely to these words. You have likely developed 5 rare traits that make life better, even if they make friendship harder to find. These traits are marks of strength, and today, we are going to validate every single one of them. You remember how it used to be when you were in your 20s. The world felt like an endless buffet of people, parties, and connections. You were afraid of missing out, so you said yes to everything and everyone because you didn't yet know who you were. But now, that version of you feels like a stranger from a distant land. The older you get, the more you realize that your energy is a finite resource, not a bottomless well. You have learned that not everyone deserves a front row seat in the theater of your life. This realization is the first step toward true freedom and emotional independence. It is the moment you stop living for the approval of the crowd and start living for the peace of your soul. The first trait is that you value peace over noise. Think about your typical day now compared to 2 decades ago when you sought constant stimulation. Back then, you could handle the drama, the long nights, and the constant buzz of people talking over each other in crowded bars. But something shifted in your nervous system as you matured and grew wiser. Research in neuropsychology suggests that as we age, our brains naturally prioritize emotional regulation over social novelty. You started noticing how much energy those shallow, repetitive interactions took from your spirit. You realize that peace is not just the absence of noise. Peace is a vital resource for your health. Peace is the fuel that allows you to think clearly, breathe deeply, and see the world as it truly is. When your environment is calm, you feel more like yourself and less like a character in someone else's story. You make better decisions when you're not drowning in the loud, conflicting opinions of others. This is why you started protecting your peace, like a precious treasure hidden in a secret vault. You stopped saying yes to every invitation just to be polite or to avoid the awkwardness of saying no. You let some relationships fade away because they cost more peace than they ever gave back in return. Most people in this loud, frantic world do not understand this choice, and they might judge you for it. They might call you distant, cold, or even a bit strange for preferring your own company. But you are not being cold. You are being intentional with the limited existence you have left. Your mind now craves calm the way it used to crave excitement, and that is a massive upgrade in your character. True strength is the ability to sit in a quiet room alone and be perfectly content with your own thoughts. It is the power to choose a quiet book over a loud bar and a walk in the woods over a crowded, superficial party. This trait is your shield against the chaos of the modern world and the noise of social media. It allows you to hear your own inner voice above the shouting of the masses who are still lost. When you prioritize peace, you are actually prioritizing your long term mental and physical well being. You are no longer willing to sacrifice your tranquility for the sake of social appearances or external validation. Consider the social battery metaphor. Your battery is no longer a cheap, disposable one. It is a high performance cell that requires careful charging. You have learned that silence is not empty, it is full of answers if you are patient enough to listen. The second trait is that you stay honest and real in everything you do and every word you speak. Do you remember the social games we all played when we were younger just to feel like we belonged? The laughing at jokes that were not funny and agreeing with political opinions we did not truly share. We did it to keep things smooth and to avoid the discomfort of being seen as different or difficult. But after 40, that constant performance starts to feel like a heavy, suffocating burden on your chest. You realize that every time you fake interest, you are spending energy you no longer have to waste on lies. So you stop performing and you start being exactly who you are, without any apologies or excuses. You start saying what you actually think, even if it makes the room go quiet for a few moments. You show up as you actually are, with all your scars, your truths, and your hard-earned wisdom. Suddenly, many of your old friendships no longer seem to work because the foundation was a lie. This is because those friendships were built on a version of you that no longer exists in this world. The real you has boundaries, opinions, and standards that make some shallow people very uncomfortable. When you show up with this level of integrity, the people who only liked your mask will naturally step back. Let them go without a second thought, for they were never truly your friends to begin with. Honesty is too much work for those who are still committed to their own social illusions and fake lives. Being real is a rare quality in a world dominated by filters, fake smiles, and curated online personas. While it might cost you many acquaintances, it gives you something far more valuable: your self-respect. You can look in the mirror every morning and recognize the honest person looking back at you. There's a profound power in having nothing to hide and nothing to prove to anyone else. You would rather be disliked for who you truly are than loved for someone you are pretending to be. This honesty acts as a natural filter, keeping only those who value truth and depth in your life. It simplifies your existence because you no longer have to keep track of which lie you told to whom. Living an authentic life means your external reality finally matches your internal values. It is a state of psychological harmony that few people ever achieve because they are too afraid of being alone. The third trait is that you protect your time with a fierce and unapologetic intensity that others might envy. At 25, time felt unlimited, like a bank account that would never run dry no matter how much you spent. But now, you feel the weight of passing time differently in your bones and in your heart. You start to count the years, not with morbid dread, but with a new, refreshing sense of honesty. You realize you might only have 30 or 40 good summers left on this beautiful earth if you are lucky. You start asking yourself a question you never used to ask. Is this person truly worth my time? Is this event, this obligation, or this conversation worth the hours I will never get back again? When you apply that strict filter to your life, most social obligations simply fail the test. The friend who only calls when they need a favor starts to lose their grip on your daily schedule. The groups that meet every week just to complain about the same old problems start to see less of you. People might call you selfish or say that you have changed too much since the old days. But you have learned a hard truth that they have yet to discover in their own busy lives. Saying yes to everyone else always means saying no to your own needs and your own peace. Your time is your most limited resource, and treating it as such is the only way to focus on what matters. It is the only way to have enough energy for your family, your health, and your own personal growth. When you stop being available for every trivial thing, people will naturally drift away from your orbit. But the ones who stay are the ones who respect your boundaries and truly value your presence. These are the deep connections that are actually worth the investment of your precious life. You no longer feel the need to fill every empty hour with social noise just to avoid being alone. You have learned that your own company is often more rewarding than the company of those who drain you. Think of time as your most valuable investment portfolio. You're now looking for high-yield relationships only. Every hour spent in a meaningless meeting or a forced dinner is an hour stolen from your soul's purpose. The fourth trait is that you think deeply and you crave real, substantial talk about things that matter. Small talk about the weather, sports, or the latest celebrity scandal has started to feel like a desert for your mind. You find yourself sitting in rooms full of people, feeling more alone than when you are by yourself at home. This is because no one is saying anything that actually touches the soul or challenges the intellect. You want to talk about purpose, about the legacy you are building, and how to make the remaining years count. You want to discuss the things that keep you up at night and the things that give you genuine hope. This isn't about being better or smarter than anyone else. It is about needing depth to survive this life. Your brain is trying to make sense of the big questions of existence, mortality, and the nature of love. These are not small things, and they deserve your full attention and the attention of your companions. Most people are terrified of these deep topics, so they keep the conversation light, safe, and boring. But you have reached a point where a fake connection is worse than no connection at all. You would rather sit in silence with your own thoughts than participate in a loud conversation that goes nowhere. You are looking for people who can meet you in the deep water, not just splash around in the shallows. If that means having a much smaller circle of friends, it is a price you are finally willing to pay. Your mind needs nutrition, not just noise, and you are no longer willing to starve your spirit just to be social. You seek out books, podcasts, and the few individuals who challenge you to think beyond the surface. This hunger for depth is a sign of a maturing soul that is ready for the next level of consciousness. You understand that life is too short for shallow chatter when the universe is waiting to be explored. Deep thinkers often walk alone, but their path is filled with a richness that the crowd can never imagine. The fifth trait is that you respect yourself and you hold firm, unbreakable boundaries against the world. This might be the most important trait of all, because it is the one that makes every other trait possible. You have spent decades letting people cross your lines and take advantage of your natural kindness. You gave and you gave until you had nothing left for yourself, thinking that was what being a good person required. But the moment you realized your own needs mattered just as much as theirs, the whole world shifted. You started saying no without offering a long list of excuses, apologies, or justifications to anyone. You started walking away from people who treated you poorly or only saw you as a tool for their own convenience. When you demand respect for your time and your energy, the people who were only there to use you will disappear. Holding boundaries is the ultimate filter for your life and the fastest way to find your true friends. It is how you find out who actually values you for your heart and not just for what you can do for them. You know now that being alone is infinitely better than being disrespected by those who claim to care. Protecting your energy is not a selfish act. It is a necessary act of survival in a demanding world. It is how you preserve your strength so you can give it freely to the people and the causes that truly deserve it. You have finally learned that you are the gatekeeper of your own life, and you are finally checking IDs at the door. This self-respect is the foundation of the second half of your life, making you resilient and strong. You no longer look for external validation because you have found the validation you need within yourself. A boundary is not a wall to keep people out. It is a gate that only lets the right people in. By respecting yourself, you teach the world how to treat you, and you no longer accept anything less than dignity. So, here is what I want you to understand today with all your heart and all your mind. If you find yourself with few friends after 40, you are not failing at the game of life. You are not broken, you are not antisocial, and you are certainly not a loser in any sense of the word. You are becoming selective, you are becoming honest, and you are becoming protective of what truly matters. These traits are rare because most people never have the courage to develop them or look within. Most people continue to chase quantity over quality their entire lives, always searching for a crowd to hide in. But you have figured it out before it was too late to enjoy the peace of your own company. You have learned that a small life with real, deep connections beats a big life full of shallow ones every single time. Your loneliness is not a sign of weakness. It is proof that you refuse to settle for anything less than the truth. You refuse to waste your precious time on things that don't matter, and you refuse to fake who you are. That takes an immense amount of strength, courage, and a deep love for the person you are becoming. And yes, it costs you friends, but what you get in return is a prize that few people ever truly find in their lifetime. You get yourself back from the expectations of others and the demands of society. You get to live a life that is honest, at peace, and entirely your own creation. The next time you feel that quietness in your home or that silence on your phone, do not feel sad or lonely. Take a deep, slow breath and feel the clarity and the freedom that comes with that silence. That clarity is leading you exactly where you need to be for the rest of your journey. You are the architect of your own peace, and the guardian of your own happiness. You are the master of your own time and the owner of your own destiny. And you are finally living a life that is worthy of the person you have worked so hard to become through the years. Be proud of your small, sacred circle and the quality of the people you have chosen to keep. Be proud of your high standards and the fact that you no longer settle for the bare minimum. And most of all, be proud of the peace you have fought so hard to find in a world that wants you loud and distracted. This is not the end of your social life. It is the glorious beginning of your real, authentic life. It is a life where every person in your circle is there because they truly belong there and they add value. It is a life where every conversation has meaning and every moment spent with others is intentional. And it is a life where you never have to apologize again for being exactly who you are meant to be. Thank you for listening, and remember, your value is not measured by the number of people in your phone list. Your value is measured by the peace in your heart and the integrity of your actions every single day. Stay strong in your boundaries, stay real in your words, and keep protecting that beautiful life you are building. The world needs more people who have the courage to be quiet and the strength to be real. You are part of a revolution of quality that is changing the way we think about connection and aging. Embrace this silence as a gift and use it to build the life you have always dreamed of living. Your best years are not behind you. They are happening right now in the peace you have created. Trust the process of your evolution and know that you are exactly where you need to be. The quiet is not empty. It is full of the person you were always meant to become. Remember that you are not alone in this. There is a whole community of quiet, strong souls just like you. By choosing quality, you're making the world a deeper, more meaningful place for everyone. Keep walking your path with your head held high and your heart at rest. You have finally arrived home within yourself.